So Representative Hemmingson-Yeager moves House File 4689 be laid over for possible inclusion. Representative, please tell us about this bill.
Thank you again. This is House File 4689, and I don't want to kind of repeat everything that Mr. Sutton talked about with the technology, but again, really excited to be taking part in how we can shape our future with energy conservation and renewables. This one specifically creates a heat exchange system rebate program. Kind of reminds me of just the ability to kind of get some people over the hump and kind of allow them to, they want to invest in geothermal, they might not have enough like capital to quite get it done, and this would help those people do that. Again, joint letter of support from utilities, labor, and energy advocacy organizations. And I will tell you right now, I'm continuing to dig into this, and the conversations continue to ensure that this bill can be as effective and as efficient as possible.
And it looks like you have a couple of testifiers for this bill. John Pollard with IOUOE Local 49. Welcome to committee. Please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is John Pollard. I'm the Legislative Director for the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 49. I have the privilege of representing 15,000 men and women who operate heavy machinery in Minnesota, North and South Dakota. Our union represents those operators who build infrastructure across the state of Minnesota in all sectors, including energy. Our members perform construction and maintenance work on traditional thermal energy plants, but also on wind and solar. We also build and maintain the natural gas distribution system that almost 2/3 of our neighbors' homes are heated with. As the state looks to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the building sector, geothermal heat pumps are a promising option and one that will create job opportunities for our members. The benefit of geothermal heat pumps, as mentioned, is that because they are pulling heat from the underground rather than the air, they can operate more efficiently at lower temperatures. These systems can also be deployed at scale in a connected system with the potential to reduce emissions across entire neighborhoods. While there are many benefits to geothermal heat pumps, the upfront cost can be expensive. That is why we appreciate and support House File 4689, which will help reduce the upfront cost for building owners. We also appreciate the inclusion of a preference for projects that utilize registered apprenticeship programs. Registered apprenticeship remains the gold standard in workforce training and is an important component of training the next generation of skilled construction workers. Thank you, Madam Chair, Representative Hemmingson, for carrying the bill, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Pollard. And next on our list, we have Willie Miley, Regulatory Director with Darcy Solutions. Welcome to committee. Once you get settled, please state your name for the record and proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair Acom and committee members. I'm Willie Miley, the Regulatory Director for Darcy Solutions. We're a geothermal heating and cooling company based out of New Brighton, Minnesota, and our company grew out of technology that was initially developed at the University of Minnesota. Darcy Solutions created an innovative geothermal system that utilizes groundwater as the thermal source and achieves significant efficiency gains. Our systems do not withdraw groundwater, but we simply flow groundwater through a specially designed in-well heat exchanger to tap into the vast renewable thermal energy in aquifers. We support House File 4689 because it will help accelerate the widespread adoption of geothermal heating and cooling across Minnesota. This geothermal heat exchange system rebate program will enable installation of more clean energy heating and cooling systems, which will help make progress on the Minnesota Climate Action Framework goals. We're now on an impressive path in Minnesota towards decarbonizing electric generation. But building HVAC systems are a large emission source, accounting for approximately 12% of total energy consumption across our economy. And building heating systems are particularly challenging to electrify. One significant challenge is that widespread use of primarily electric heating systems would put significant strain on the power grid during peak times. However, utilizing geothermal renewable energy for building heating and cooling addresses this problem with the most efficient thermal energy source that is available. Building HVAC needs are unique, and decisions on HVAC system modifications to increase efficiency and reduce carbon emissions need to be made by each individual building owner. A similar rebate program already exists in Minnesota for air source heat pumps. By also providing rebates for geothermal systems, Minnesota building owners will have more options to utilize the renewable HVAC system that makes the most sense for their particular building. So in closing, I urge you to please advance this bill, as this geothermal system incentive program will assist Minnesota building owners with another option for installing renewable HVAC at their property while also advancing Minnesota's overall clean energy goals.
One or the other.
Thank you, Chair and committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Miley, for your testimony. Any questions or Representative Rarick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I don't think I heard testimony as to what does it typically cost to do geothermal in a single-family home? You've got a $6,000 rebate, and what does it typically cost to put a geothermal system in a single-family home?
I'm going to defer to
Representative
Mr. Sutton,
Hemmingson
if
Yeager.
that's okay.
Thank you, Representative, or Chair Aker, Representative Rarick. It will, talking to the industry, it obviously will depend on a number of factors, including whether you're building a new home, have an existing home, the amount of internal ductwork that has to be done. But, the estimates I've heard are somewhere between, 22,000, and then it could always go all the way up to, 45,000, are sort of what I'd heard for a single-family home.
Wow, Madam Chair.
Representative Rarick.
So I just had my gas-powered furnace go out, and the A coil also went out. So I had to replace the entire air conditioning and heating system, the whole thing. So that was a little over $8,000. So you said $22,000 to $45,000. Okay, so and the rebate is $6,000. So that's still a huge departure from if somebody wanted to just put in a high-efficiency gas furnace, which is what I did, and I got a $750 rebate. It was a little over $4,000. I think it was $4,700 just for the furnace itself. So it's still an incredibly expensive endeavor to do. What does it cost for a multifamily housing unit or commercial building typically? What's the range? Because you've got a 5%, which, or not to exceed 50,000. So how much does it cost to do it for that kind of a building?
Chair Ingham, Representative Rarick, one thing I would mention as well is just in response to your previous comment, that there's also a federal tax credit worth 30% of the value of the project as well. So that's just one other factor for homeowners to consider. The multifamily or commercial will largely, again, I think it's going to range, and it'll depend on the size of the building and the thermal load, as well as that question of a new building versus one where you have to do significant changes to the ductwork is going to be a big factor in making the difference. I know maybe, I don't know if Mr. Wiley wants to speak at all to some of the commercial size costs or any specifics.
Madam Chair, while the testifiers come down, can I ask a quick question of Representative Rarick? It's a good one.
Okay.
I'm just wondering,
Give you
Representative.
some leeway.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Rarick, since you brought up this instance, were you able to find a qualified union electrician to do the work on that, or were you not able to find a qualified individual to replace that appliance for? Did you have to go out, out of network to get that done?
Or in that other body, like.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Representative Rarick. And did Mr. Miley want to come down to address that question, or no? Okay, no. Maybe we don't have the specifics. We're moving on.
Well, I was just waiting for her to respond.
Well, I mean, from the question from Representative Rarick. All right, Representative Rarick.
So as I'm sure Representative Garofalo knows, an HVAC system is different than a automation system, which is what my husband, the union electrician, would install. But he could have changed the thermostat, but he could not change the HVAC system. But thanks for the question.
Representative Igo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want some clarification. Line 3, it would be 3.9. So it's in the prioritization section of the bill. So when we say for single-family homes not currently served by a natural gas utility, does that mean like homes that would be on a fuel oil system or have a propane tank? Would those be houses that are prioritized?
Representative Hemmingson Yeager.
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, both, either. Representative Igo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So then going through the prioritization for 1, 2, 3, does 1 take priority over 2, 2 over 3, or is it just kind of all of them have the same equal weight?
Representative Hemmingson Yeager.
I see how you're reading that differently. I'm going to see if Mr. Sutton has a response, but otherwise I have an idea too.
Mr. Sutton?
I think I had read it as sort of equal weight, so all of those are factors that could be, lead to a priority for the application.
Representative Igo,
Thank you,
anything?
Madam Chair. So the reason I ask it is because when we talk about doing rebates for energy, and we already talked that the cost is a little higher,
Little.
what I don't want to see, what I don't want to see happen is the people who have lots of money are going to be the ones that are going to take advantage of this system. If we're going to try and do energy efficiency and bring down energy price and rates for people by having them have more efficient systems, we need to find ways to get into those people that it would drastically affect. Because when you lower someone's cost of energy, you lift them out of poverty, you give them more prosperity. So what I don't want to see is the state creating another program where the people in the 1% are filing to take hard-earned taxpayer dollars to make their homes more efficient, whereas communities with... Yeah, oh yeah, we've already done that with EV cars. But I don't... You see, I think you see the point I'm trying to make. I want to make sure that all Minnesotans will have the chance to go for this, and it doesn't just turn into the top 5% of our state getting a handout.
And I think that Representative Hemmingson-Yager, I'm going to let her respond. I think there was some talk about potentially making some modifications to the bill, which may address part of what you're referring to. Representative Hemmingson-Yager.
Yeah, so I agree. I want to make sure that we're lifting people up and that we're going in this together. I will say too, that's why we have the prioritization here. Part of the discussions I'm having is thinking about the multi-family housing and how we could probably be a little bit more effective and efficient if we think more on like a network geothermal scale. So that's just kind of, since you alluded to it, that's kind of where I'm thinking of going.
And the bill will be laid over, so there will be continued efforts on it. So Representative Igo, anything else?
I'm good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions or comments from members? Seeing, Representative Rarick?
Just a closing, small little comment. Just, as Representative Igo just pointed out, to do this, it's literally 5 times to 10 times higher than just doing a natural gas furnace, high efficiency natural gas furnace. The $6,000 rebate is more than I spent on my gas furnace. I just replaced it in January. So it's just, you got to think about the costs, I think, too, at some point here.
No. Any closing comments, Representative Hemmingson-Yager?
Sure. So you kind of reminded me, back at one of my kids' birthday parties, our air conditioning went out. And of course, since I have 2 summer babies, it was nice and 85 and humid and my house is full of people. And so we had to replace our entire HVAC system too. And I think ours was like $7,500 or $8,000 for the whole thing. And shortly thereafter, we got solar panels and we're like, oh, this will be great on our energy bill. And what we saw was our electricity costs went down, but we weren't noticing a huge change in our natural gas. And that's because the price of natural gas is constantly fluctuating and going up. So, so that's kind of when I think about going to geothermal, I think of kind of like that down the road savings that you're going to be having. It is a lot of upfront cost now, which is where hopefully this rebate program will help get those people to be able to make that decision to change, knowing about the future cost savings. Thank you.
Representative Hemmingson-Yager renews her motion that House File 4689 be laid over, and the bill is laid over.